I'm journalist and podcast enthusiast Lauren Windle, and you're listening to The Good Pod Guide, where I help you find your next great listen. I've just Googled it, and apparently we get lied to between 10 and 200 times a day. That is crazy. What is wrong with the world? Why can we trust no one? You know, I just think it's like, can you only trust yourself? Are we lying to ourselves? I wonder how many of those are to ourselves. Also, I'd love to see how they work that out, because between 10 and 200 is like a really wide number. That's dramatically different. So I wonder if that varies from like place to place. Like maybe if you live in a convent, you're down at like 10. Whereas if you're, part of an organized crime gang, you're up to 200. Except those organized crime gangs like really can't lie to each other. They have to be loyal. They're really big on loyalty from what I've seen on TV. Anyway, we're talking about lying because in a sea of current affairs and celeb interviews and true crime or interesting fact podcasts, I love it when we find something a little bit different, a little bit original. So this podcast is Liar City, and it is arguably still part of the sort of true crime genre, but at least it has a really interesting twist. It covers con artists, scammers, and general liars, and this is big for me because I absolutely loved it. What I found is that I'm mildly entertained by virtually all of the podcasts that we review. But when I find a great one, I just really want to flag it up to you. And I really thought this one was great. There are some big name liars featured, like Jim Jones, who made everyone drink the Kool-Aid, and Lance Armstrong, the disgraced cyclist. Their most downloaded episode is called Man in the Mirror, and it's a different format because rather than sort of outlining the deception of an evil person, they host it as a debate as to what extent Michael Jackson was lying and to what extent he was a child molester. And that's pretty interesting. It's hosted by Brian Flanagan, and he always has different guests with him who discuss and comment on the stories. The podcast is no longer running. It ran from 2014 to 2017, but there are 55 episodes for you to try out. If you're keen to give it a go, the 2 episodes I started with and would recommend are Go Ask Alice, which looked at 2 different memoirs which were written as non-fiction, as fact, but they were complete lies, and the things that happened in them didn't actually happen at all. And one of them was actually picked for Oprah's book club, and it all kind of kicked off. That was really interesting to listen to. But also the other one that I really enjoyed was Not in Great Neck, and that looked at the story of the Friedmans, a father and son who confessed to child molestation when they hadn't actually done it. And that was really interesting, and it flagged up some real flaws with our justice system. Well, it was the American justice system, but general justice. It's not a comedy podcast, but as it's sort of hosted in a discussion format, there are naturally lighthearted moments and jokes between the host and the guest, but it's not like try-hard comedians just sort of squeezing every joke out of the situation that they can. In the next episode, you'll hear me ponder the casting similarities between Scrubs and Cougar Town as I review podcast Fake Doctors, Real Friends with the actors behind Scrubs, Turk and JD. For more info, you can check out the show notes. And if you've enjoyed what you've heard, like, subscribe, and leave a positive review. It helps us beat that nasty algorithm.